Happy Friday, family. It's sweet potato pudding time, and I'm gonna bake it with a sweet piece of yellow yam and some coconuts. So these are my main ingredients. I'll be taking that up to the fireside and have German helping me out. German is here cracking the coconut and removing the liquid from inside of it to get those on the grater. He will remove it from the shell and add it to the pot while we get ready the sweet potato as well. And this is just a simple family size pudding that I'll be bake outside in the countryside. So once those are inside of the pot, which is the coconut, you go ahead and wash them off, and it's time to grate it. Now it's time to peel and clean the sweet potato, and everybody's outside helping in some way. So the sweet potato will be peeling and they will be washed off, ready to start grating. Here is German finishing grating the coconut on the outside, and we use 2 small coconuts for this one. Our coconut has finished grating, sweet potato wash off and ready to grater, and we are using the finest part of the grater on the outside to grate the sweet potato and a piece of yellow yam to go inside of the pudding. These are my other ingredients. I have palm oil, dark cane sugar, salt, all-purpose flour, vanilla, mixed spice, and almond essence, cinnamon powder, nutmeg powder, and this is our mixture of sweet potato and yellow yam, and of course the coconut milk. So once your girl get her apron on, business is about to get done. So I'm gonna put on my apron and tie that at the back. It's now time to start baking, and I went ahead and give the sweet potato and the yellow yam just a light mix, and this is it. Mix it together to combine everything. And you know that carrot can be going to your pudding as well. Dasheen, cocoa, anything, even the coconut trash. So this is just a mixture of the sweet potato and the yellow yam. Now it's time to squeeze the coconut, and I'll be using 4 cups of coconut milk, freshly squeezed from the coconut that we grated. And I use a bit of warm water to squeeze this because sometimes where I live can get a bit cold. So I use that. I won't be adding any trash into my pudding because I don't enjoy my pudding that way. And the trash is for my chickens. So I went ahead and added 3 cups first, then the other remaining cup afterwards. I'm just going to give that a mix to combine everything. Then I add my dark Jamaican cane sugar to the mixture. Make sure that your sugar is fully dissolved. So after you add your milk mixture to the sweet potato that is grated, or if you blend it, add your sugar right after. You want to make sure that there's no big clumps of sugar in your pudding. Fully combining the sugar inside of the mixture. Now it's time to add our palm oil, and I use oil instead of butter in my baking. You can add the butter if you like. So I'm gonna fully combine that, make sure that the sugar is fully dissolved also. Now I'll go in with all the rest of my liquid. So it's liquid time, vanilla, and I'm just eyeballing it, just like when your granny used to bake outside. Almond and rose water goes in, and they smell absolutely good into the mixture, and I'll give in that a mix. And once you're mixing, you put the butter, taste it to see how tasty is it, to adjust it how you like and how better you can improve it. So I'm going with some all-purpose flour now, and I will be mixing that to combine. And just a caution with the flour, if you like a more tighter pudding, you're going to add more flour. If you like a more softer pudding that tastes more like potato, add less flour. We were going for a bit of a denser pudding for the family, so I went ahead with 6 cups of flour. If you want a more softer pudding, you can go for 4 to 5 cups. This is the time now to add all the dry spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, mixed spice, everything you like, even your salt, yes, everything you like in your sweet potato pudding to spice up it. And don't underestimate the spice at this time. Taste your butter, because the spice gonna bring up that flavor. And don't be afraid to use your salt. I'm using sea salt here, natural sea salt, so it is a bit less saltier than the regular table salt. Normally, after I taste my pudding batter, I go in again with some more vanilla, almond essence, and some more dry spices. And like I said, don't underestimate your spices. You don't want no flour and potato. You want a sweet, nice pudding that tastes absolutely good. So I went ahead and add some ginger powder. Yes, if you have grated fresh ginger, even better. Greasing my pudding tin. This is very necessary. You don't want that pudding to stick to the bottom. Greasing that, and then the entire batter will be placing inside of it. I use raisin, which is optional, half cup of raisin. And all my measurements will be pinned in the comment section and in the video description. It's now time to set up the coal fire. And yes, I know how to light my fire. So I set up my coal fire, put in my coal, light the fire, make sure that it catch before me even start remove any fire out of it. I'm gonna sit on the pudding now. Sweet potato pudding. And one of my subscribers said she like potato pudding which tastes like potato. So we're gonna make that pudding right now. This is my pudding batter, not too runny. Now it's time to add in raisin. I went ahead and floured the raisin, and this helps the raisin not to sink to the bottom of the pudding. The entire batter goes into the pudding tin, scraping out every last bit of it. I will go ahead and add the raisin on top. I did not mix the raisin inside of it because I want it to stay afloat. And you must add a little all-purpose flour over the top of the raisin and give it a shake so that your raisin don't sink to the bottom. Everything goes on top of the pudding. Then I will use my spoon to give that a light sink. Just sink it halfway and mix it together. I'm just giving this a light swirl to make sure that the raisin is not too close together. Now it's time to bake like my granny style, removing the fire from the coal stove and placing that onto the top, and I leave little to no fire under the bottom of the pudding. So what I do is, once the pudding reach like a halfway through baking, I go ahead and put some fire underneath the bottom, some more fire underneath the bottom, but the majority of the coal will be on top of it. This is a very large pudding, so I'm going to go ahead and place the fire on the top of it and scatter that out. Then I will keep removing some underneath the bottom of the fire. And this is how I bake on the outside. More fire on top, less fire below. And I'm using coal to bake my pudding on the outside. This is how the bottom looks. Now I went ahead and added some coconut milk. And I'm using 2 stoves in 1. Fire at the bottom, fire at the top. And I give that a mix. Now it's time to spice it up. Vanilla, rose and almond water, cinnamon, nutmeg, mixed spice, a pinch of salt, and a couple tablespoons of sugar, and that will give me the perfect top to go on top of my pudding. I do not enjoy sweet potato pudding with a wet top. I only like it with a glaze, a beautiful glaze. So I'm going to mix that until it comes to caramelize, brown, and thicken. So this is it after it is cooked down. This is my pudding about 30 minutes through. It is setting beautifully, but not even ready as yet. I left it for a couple hours, about 3 to 4 hours. Very low and slow to make sure the pudding is baked. And I went ahead and just brushed the top of it, placing back the fire on top of it. And this is my way of baking sweet potato pudding, done by the blessed hands of Abby on the outside. And this pudding was absolutely delicious. Ready by Abby Faith. So I'm using my equal slicer to place on the top. And don't underestimate this pudding. This pudding full your belly. It was done on request for my neighbor, and he like it this way. So we're going to cut into it and show you how beautiful it turns out. And like I said, I enjoy the pudding with a little glaze on the top. So that is what I use after boiling down the coconut milk, and I brush that over the top and let the pudding set. Yes guys, you have to let your pudding set, as it gonna mash up, especially hot. So this is my country style way of baking sweet potato pudding. This is it, Abby's beautiful country style sweet potato pudding with a bit of raisin, not too overpowering. Rate this pudding in the comment section. Don't it look beautiful? And it tastes good too. Abby Ann, bless. My hands are blessed. And I'll be leaving all the measurements in the description so you can bake it for your family if you like a dense pudding. And like I said, if you don't even like a dense pudding, you can adjust the flour how you like it. And don't be afraid to use your spice and your salt. Not too much salt, but use your spices, your cinnamon, your nutmeg, your allspice. Those are gonna bring up the flavor of your pudding. This is my pudding in the morning, and I'm behind the camera eating, so don't worry. I cut and I eat. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Look how beautiful that look. I have 2 blessed hands, even though I use my left hand. This is it. This was a very large pudding, so you can use the measurement and just portion it out in your foil pans. But you know, we're baking in the countryside, and my pudding tin is very big. It's bigger than a 10-inch, and this is my beautiful glazed top sweet potato pudding. Thank you guys so very much for watching from the beautiful countryside. I wish you a happy baking to you and your family. And don't forget to check out my recipe and tell me now if I did a wonderful job. Bye for now and happy Friday.